We're taught that hard work is the primary driver of success, but many people grind for years only to end up with the exact opposite. Meanwhile, others navigate life with a strange ease, achieving their goals without the same visible struggle. In The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, Joseph Murphy argues that this discrepancy is rooted in a specific mechanical relationship, the way our conscious thoughts interact with our deeper mind. Understanding how this internal communication works explains why some efforts lead to results, while others only create more resistance. Think of your conscious mind as the captain of a ship. From the deck, the captain observes the environment and issues commands that determine the ship's direction. Below the deck are the engineers, your subconscious mind. They simply monitor the machinery and blindly follow orders from the captain. If the captain says, "I can't afford this," the engineers accept it as a functional order. They adjust the engines and steer the ship toward a reality of lack, regardless of how much effort is being expended on deck. The subconscious doesn't argue or evaluate if a thought is beneficial. It lacks a sense of humor and cannot filter out a joke from a command. It simply executes the dominant idea provided to it. This suggests that your current circumstances are the coordinates your subconscious engineers were told to sail toward by your habitual thoughts. Envy is one of the primary ways this programming goes wrong. When you criticize someone else's wealth, your subconscious records a negative association with money. It cannot distinguish between your feelings about others and yourself, so it begins to repel the very thing you claim to want. Then there is the paradox of willpower. Walking across a narrow plank on the floor is easy, but suspend that same plank 50 meters in the air, and the imagination of falling becomes the dominant thought. The harder you try to force yourself across with sheer will, the more you reinforce the fear of falling. This is why you might blank during an exam. The harder you try to force the memory, the more your mind fixates on the anxiety of forgetting. Using pure willpower to drive a goal often backfires because the effort itself is rooted in a subconscious expectation of failure. Inconsistency further complicates the process. You might spend time visualizing a positive outcome, only to spend the next hour dwelling on your fears. This is like getting into a taxi and changing your destination every few blocks. The driver becomes confused, the vehicle zigzags, and despite the engine running, you make no progress toward any specific location. When the subconscious receives conflicting commands, it effectively stalls, keeping you in the same place despite your conscious desire to move forward. The alternative to forced effort is relaxed visualization. By seeing a goal as if it were already finished, you allow the subconscious to determine the most efficient way to reach that state. The most effective time for this is just before sleep. As the conscious mind relaxes, the subconscious continues to process the day's final thoughts, often surfacing solutions as sudden hunches the following day. This method of delegating problems to the subconscious during sleep was used by inventors like Nikola Tesla to solve engineering hurdles. Albert Einstein also utilized these quiet states to allow deeper mental processes to provide the insights his conscious logic couldn't reach alone. Sleep is a period where the mind processes these visualizations, mapping out the route to the destination you've selected on deck. This internal programming even extends to biological health. Science shows that nearly every cell in the human body is replaced over the course of 11 months. If you are still suffering for a mistake you made years ago, you are mentally punishing a person who, biologically, no longer exists. This lingering guilt creates stress that interferes with the body's natural ability to repair itself. Think of your subconscious like a watchmaker. It manages the heartbeat, lungs, and cellular growth, complex functions that continue without any conscious input, provided the mechanisms aren't jammed by worry or fear. By addressing envy and moving past the strain of willpower, you align the captain's orders with the engineer's capabilities. This allows the mind to build the reality you want rather than the one you've been accidentally fearing.